In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Baylan Skoll for the Black Series 6-inch line, and this is the second release of him with the addition of the cape and his mercenary outfit, as they say. Had this action figure for a little while now, just now finally getting around to doing the video for him. I imagine at this point, everyone who has wanted this action figure probably has him by now. I still would like to do a video for him regardless, give my take on it. I do have a little bit of a different purpose in mind for this character and action figure in my collection. Of course, he's from the Ahsoka show, which I have not seen up until now. I don't know if I am going to be getting around to seeing it, just don't really have the interest in it. But I see Baylan Skoll is very similar to character from the EU as Skoll, who was a disciple to Count Dooku. I wouldn't be surprised if Baylan Skoll here is loosely based off of Skoll. So that's kind of who I'm have in mind for treating him in my collection. And I will probably end up having him displayed alongside Count Dooku and Asajj Ventress. I think that's the group he would fit in most with. Anyways, here's the package. Baylan Skoll, Mercenary, Ahsoka number 13. Big, decent amount of action figures from the Ahsoka show. And there are lots of great ones out there. Even though I haven't seen the show, I do find a lot of the character designs very interesting. I will be doing the video for the Captain Enoch and Night Trooper pack here next. How it looks in the package, and this is the newer style package where it doesn't have the slanted end anymore. Anyways, Baylan Skoll, Mercenary, ally to former magistrate of Calodan Morgan Elsbeth. After the fall of the Empire, Baylan Skoll is a shrewd lightsaber-wielding mercenary for hire, overseeing his apprentice Shin Hati. Nice image of him there. But I'll go ahead and get this open, and I'll open it off screen here and see you in a second. My initial impression of Baylan here, I'm very happy I got him. I'm very happy I especially got him for a discounted price. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I've had this for a couple months now, and at the time I got this was during the time Walmart was doing its deep clearance sales of mostly Black Series and TVC action figures, and I ended up getting this for like $8, I think. Definitely not a $30 action figure, which I think is what he was originally going for. But I'm happy to add him to my collection regardless. He'll definitely fit the part of like a Skoll character. I know all about the flaws of this guy. I know he's a little bit shorter than what he really should be. And I know a lot of people have complained that the lightsaber blade he has is a little bit too large, especially compared to his height here. But as someone who has not watched the Ahsoka show, I'm not really bothered by it because I'm basically making up a storyline for this character, whatever I see fit. And the fact he's a little bit shorter, I don't think is really that big of a deal. But for those that are really into this and want the most screen accurate character possible, I can understand frustration. That's a very nice head sculpt of Ray Stevenson here. I think it's neat that he got a part in Star Wars. It's unfortunate what happened to him. I'm actually mostly familiar with him from the... I think he was in the Rome series back in the mid-2000s, if I recall correctly, and those are the type of parts I'm usually more familiar with him from. I think he's more of a theater actor. A very nice head sculpt of him. The beard looks good. A lot of times Hasbro does not do a good job on the beards, but this one turned out pretty nice. Some nice details in there, especially the mustache there. Hair looks good. As for the rest of him, I'll take this cape off real quick. It's easy enough to get off. His armor here has a little bit of a blue hue to it, which I think looks pretty good. You can tell he's seen some action. Part of his robes here, which do have appropriate cuts in them to allow for the extra mobility in his legs. Some nice gauntlets on him. That's the communicator right there. A bit of green on his belt. Nice design on the spine there. So I'm really impressed with the articulation on this guy too. I'll get into the specific parts here in a minute, but he does have pretty much all the typical articulated points. Has a very nice range of motion in his head there, and I believe at the base of the neck he might, yeah, he's got a little bit of articulation at the base of the neck too. So pretty good range there. He does have the butterfly joints in the shoulders, which are very nice, and the shoulder armor is not too hindering. It does flex out of the way, so if you want to get more dynamic poses. His elbows do go past 90 degrees, very nice. And something that I'm really impressed with is the wrist articulation here. It's a very fluid motion. And a lot of times on action figures that's not the case, especially with Star Wars. So I'm a big fan of that. That's probably my favorite articulated feature of this. It does have the joint at the waist as well. And of course the barbell at the hips. No swivel thigh. I think that's pretty much gone out of style at this point, except for reused molds from the past. And then of course the hinge at the knee, which goes about 90, which is all it really needs to do. And of course the typical articulation in the ankles here. And he does have a little bit of the bell bottoms, I suppose, here at the bottom, or the beveled end, I think is what it's technically called. But it's not very hindering for him at all. Yeah, I can definitely get some nice poses out of this. In terms of accessories, it just comes with the basics. Of course, the addition of the cape, which is his deluxe accessory, or so we're led to believe. But I will say, Hasbro has definitely improved the proportions on their capes in recent years, and I think this might be one of the best they've ever done for a Black Series action figure. The hood proportions on it are great. It has the appropriate flow over his head there. It actually rests on top of his head and it doesn't look bulky or unnatural or just plain off at all on this guy. It's very nice. In fact, I might utilize this cape for other action figures down the road. Another one of the main draws of why I got this action figure, I was so impressed by seeing the pictures of how this cape looked. It's definitely something I wanted to add. It does have this gray trim around the hood there, which looks really nice. I think that's to help it keep from fraying at the ends. And as you can see, Hasbro did stitch it down on the sides here, which I'm sure helped give it its natural flow. But yeah. And it's not too long either. Sometimes you get some of these robes and capes that drag out way beyond their feet. And of course his lightsaber. A nice red blade. I can see what people are where people are coming from with the blade being way too long. But it's not too bothering for me. A little bit of a hard time getting the lightsaber blade off the hilt here, but I would recommend being careful. But he does have the hook on his belt here somewhere. That looks pretty good. is a little loose, so if you had him upside down, that's probably going to fall off. Let's see here. Yeah. That's alright. Definitely not going to be taking this blade off the hilt too often. I definitely feel how fragile it is. Yeah, that's pretty much all I can show with Baylan here. We'll do a couple comparisons here. So, because she's mentioned on the back of the packaging, I figure it only makes sense to show off Morgan Elsbeth here. This is a custom cape. This actually goes to the Sod Ventress, or that's who it's intended for, but I figured it would fit for Morgan Elsbeth as well. Character she's kind of related to, the HK-87 droid. They all look good together. Character I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I think he would go perfectly with. It's Count Dooku. I can definitely see the resemblance of them going together. Yeah, very nice. And a couple other characters I think are kind of fitting. Here he is with Qui-Gon. I think the two of them would see eye to eye on a lot of things, from what little I know. He is with Thrawn in the back. And just one more to throw in. The main character of the show, Ahsoka here. Overall, very nice. As I mentioned, I'm happy to add on my collection. Not an action figure I was willing to spend $30 for, but definitely $8 is a good deal. At the time of this video, I don't think the sales are really running for him so much now, but I'm sure you can find him for below the retail price. So if you really want Baylan and you haven't been able to get a hold of him at this point, or if you're watching this video years later, perhaps you'll find a good deal for him. And if you're expressing any interest at all for this character, I would definitely recommend him for your collection. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There'll always be more to come. This first review I'm filming in a long while now, so it's nice to get back into it. And as I mentioned, there'll be lots more in the coming weeks and months and years, hopefully. But if you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate your support. And check out the links in the description if you haven't done so already. Of course, as always, thanks for watching.